Hey guys, thank you again for tuning in. Welcome back to Rap Talks Finance. And today I'm going to talk to you about some of the most important lessons I learned from reading books. And I'm also going to talk to you about if it's actually worth reading books. Now, over the last few years after high school, I have read a tremendous amount of books. I think I've read over 1,000 books on motivation, finance. I can pretty much read anything under the sun other than fiction books. I only read nonfiction because I like actual knowledge. Now, I'm going to give you my real advice. Reading is great as a hobby, but reading is not a necessity to become successful. Now, some people agree with me and some people won't. I guess it's a lot of its preference. But the reason why I say this is when you read something, you use it for entertainment. It's the same form of entertainment because if you need to consume knowledge, you can also look for successful people who've done podcasts on the subject that you want to learn. And usually that's going to be a little bit more engaging than reading a book. You could listen to audiobooks as well, or you could do in-depth research as well, which involves reading, but it's different than a storybook. Now, you still will learn a lot of knowledge from books because books are a great way to gain knowledge. And the tips that I recommend to people when they ask what's a good book or what's a great way to start this is I actually don't recommend starting with books. The reason why I don't recommend starting with books is if you read for the purpose of reading, you usually do not retain what you need. But here's a question. When you have a problem in your life, what do? You go search YouTube videos about the problem. You go, just as an example on my life, if you've seen the videos from a few months ago, I've learned a lot about editing. And I started from literally doing one take to record the whole video on OBS to making separate parts when I mess up. And then editing it all together in DaVinci Resolve, and then I learned how to do transitions, add memes, all that fun stuff that I like to do, and it makes the whole video more entertaining and it makes me better. But the only reason I learned this is because every single time I was trying to figure out how to put a chart in, I had to go on YouTube to search up how to do it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is if you want to get financially literate, you can listen to all the podcasts you want. And I recommend doing so because that's going to help you gain knowledge that sometimes you don't even know the question to ask. But if you go to your brokerage account on your app and you wondering what stock to buy, you're going to go search up what stocks to buy. And I obviously don't recommend you listen to anybody randomly. However, you can watch these videos and you'll get a depth of knowledge on how to actually find the ticker symbol of a company you want to invest in. Or somebody will give you advice on if you search up how to find the perfect stock to invest in. And then, some good advice is look around you and what are the products that you use. If you only use Apple products, it's probably a good idea to invest into Apple because that's something you know and see. Now, that is how I recommend to consume knowledge. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of times where you're bored and you have nothing else better to do. And I always recommend do something functional, whether it's like Duolingo, where you're literally learning a second language. And that's what I like to do a lot. Or read books or just listen to podcasts and audiobooks. Majority of my day is me listening to audiobooks and my apologies, I lost my voice just today, actually, funny enough. But listen to audiobooks or listen to some sort of podcasts because podcasts are the exact same. You're fetching knowledge from these from the environment that you're watching. And so you don't necessarily need to read books or listen to audiobooks to get rich and to become successful, but you have to be engaged. So when you find a problem, so that's why I always say if you want to invest, the first thing you need to do is actually buy a stock. So go to invest and figure out how to do it. If you don't know how to use your app, that's great because the next thing you're going to do is search online, how do I actually buy a stock? And then you're gonna maybe learn about ETFs, and from there you'll enter what is an ETF, what stocks are in this ETF, and you'll be able to ask questions like that. So the two things to do if you're gonna take anything from this video is start doing it because you can read 100 books on how to create a successful business, but until you go out and you fail at creating a successful business, you won't know how to do it. Another example of this also recently in my life was when I was trying to create my car rental agency and company. So this took a while to get to. And do you know what one of the most difficult parts is that I didn't even realize was a problem? Employees. Now, obviously, from the outside, that sounds actually like a pretty reasonable issue that most people are going to have. But wasn't aware for it. And because I made early mistakes, I'm able to now keep those mistakes limited. And for the next business I start, I will also have this pre-existing knowledge to base off of. So experience can happen from life, from books, from audiobooks, from the internet, from YouTube. Doesn't make a difference where you get your knowledge from. But as long as you're being active towards what you want to get, you will get what you want to get. And I truly mean that. So there is a book I recommend to anybody. There's a couple, and then the first is The Holy Grail of Investing, just by Robin Williams. The reason why is a lot of people don't talk about private equity, and so private equity is one of those things that once you really get into it, you understand a lot of people can make a lot of money from it. But most of the time, you need to be an intelligent investor, and what that means is you need to be somebody who has a certain amount of money, usually $1 million net worth, and then you can become a sophisticated investor and invest into more higher risk assets. But as Robin Williams says, Tony Robbins, my apologies, I was saying Robin Williams, I love that guy too, but Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins, if you're able to read his book, it's fantastic. Another really good book is How the Economy Grows and Why It Crashes by Peter D. Schiff. He is a really, really good writer. This is one of my favorite books. It goes into the entire depth of why a nation collapses and why a nation succeeds. And it's very good knowledge to have, especially if you want to know how the economy works. If you're scared of all the stocks falling tomorrow or this happening or this happening, this is a very good book to read. It'll really help ease your nerves, and it'll help you understand that you want markets to go down, because when the market goes down, it brings opportunity. And another really good book is by Ray Dalio, The Principles of Navigating Big Debt Crisis. And I think they really did this book really well because it explains what happens when you just keep printing and printing money and you keep getting inflation and higher inflation. The Changing World Order is also a really good one by Ray Dalio. Now, these books are great, but again, if you take nothing from the books, they're just going one year and come out the other, right? So actively try to use what you learn. So if you want to buy stocks and you want to become a stock trader, and I don't mean a day trader, I mean somebody who is going to purchase stocks and assets for the long term, then read books about how to read a balance sheet. All of this stuff will come into your knowledge depth eventually. But so you don't need to rush into trying to get a master's in, or even a regular degree in something like business or just the economy, when you can just start small and you can just literally build up your foundation from the questions you have. I truly mean it, but questions, when you're looking for an answer to a question, you retain so much more knowledge. And I really hope you guys all get that. I just wanted to give this quick short video, just giving you guys some wisdom on stuff that I wish I knew before. Because I did jump into reading books forcefully. And I promise you that from the books I read because I needed to read, the amount of knowledge that I've taken from there is so drastically more. So guys, have a great rest of your day. I hope this video finds you well. And if you've made it this far in the video, I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.